welcome to Week 7 NFL Picks. I'm your host, Jay Hewitt, staff writer for the Spectator. Last week, we had Oakland beat Cleveland, San Francisco beat Detroit, Chicago beat Minnesota, New York Jets beat Miami, and in our wild card game, we had the New York Football Giants beat Buffalo. Our picks for this week are Kansas City at Oakland, the Sunday night game, Indianapolis at New Orleans, and the Monday night game, Baltimore at Jacksonville. We've got two wild card games, the first being Washington at Carolina, and the second being Pittsburgh at Arizona. Let me introduce the panel first. We got Rashawn Mungo, staff writer for The Spectator, who went 3-2 last week. Then we got Bernard Miranda, who went 4-1 last week, won the week. And we got John Como, managing editor for The Spectator, who went 3-2 last week also. Now on to our first game, Kansas City at Oakland. The whole entire panel here decided unanimously that Oakland's going to be the winner. They're just a better football team overall. They still have the top rusher in the NFL, and Kansas City really has no skill offensive players.
I think Oakland is a overall better team, like Jake said. They can run the ball all over Kansas City, who can't stop the run. I think that's going to force them to leave the cover two that they like to play and force them to play man. We watched the Chiefs play man against the Peyton Manningless Colts, and they pretty much got burned. I think the Raiders are going to be able to do that, run the ball on them, and I think Carson Palmer in his first week is going to be able to etch out a win against the terrible Kansas City Chiefs in Oakland.
Even though Carson Palmer is coming into a new team, I think that even without him, the Raiders still be able to pull this win off. I think they're just going to hand the ball to Darren McFadden, and they'll probably do little short passes with Carson Palmer to get his feet wet. Kansas City's 2 wins were against teams that combined only have 1 win overall. So I think Oakland's just a better team.
All right, now on to the Sunday night game, Indianapolis at New Orleans. The panel, once again, completely unanimously decided New Orleans. This was a tough pick for me because I like Indianapolis. It's just they're not good this year. They have no offense. I mean, that losing their quarterback, who was basically their offensive coordinator, has really hurt them. The skilled position players that they have aren't really able to do as much as they have been in the past because they don't have as great of a quarterback as Peyton Manning to help them out. And, I mean, I see the Colts getting at least 1 win this year, but this just isn't the week.
As I was doing my research for the game this week, I came up to one conclusion. New Orleans is better. All around. Ever since they lost Peyton Manning, Indianapolis has done nothing. I mean, I think we were all wondering, well, would Indianapolis be without Peyton Manning? And we kind of figured it out. They would be 0-6 and not looking like they're going to win a game anytime soon.
All right, the next game we got is the Monday night game, Baltimore at Jacksonville. And once again, the panel who's here is unanimous. Baltimore has the number 3 ranked defense, but, I mean, I think Baltimore's defense overall is number 1. I mean, regardless of how long Ray Lewis has been in the league, he's still a monster. Ed Reed's still a monster. That line is just too much for Jacksonville to handle. And, I mean, Maurice Jones-Drew can only do so much. Blaine Gabbert's not having a good season. And Baltimore has good enough skill players to put points on the board also, so I'm taking Baltimore.
In the Monday game, I'm taking Baltimore as well because of their defense. Their defense is just phenomenal. They're first in the league in passing defense, I believe. But the Ravens, they're going for their 4th consecutive week winning. This will be their 4th week, which means a month of perfect football. The Jaguars themselves haven't won since week 1 when they only beat the Tennessee Titans by 2 points, so they could very well be 0-6. I just think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to go down to Jacksonville and handle their business once again.
So next we got the wild card game, Pittsburgh at Arizona. And once again, panel's unanimous. Pittsburgh's going to take this. Arizona has no offense. I feel bad for Larry Fitzgerald because, I mean, he's a crazy good receiver, but he has no quarterback to throw it to him. And Pittsburgh, with the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, is just going to – I honestly – I can see Pittsburgh's defense scoring more points than Arizona's offense. So I think Pittsburgh's kind of got a lopsided win in this one. The final game this week that we're choosing is a wild card game, Washington at Carolina. And the panel split on this.
I got Carolina. I think their offense has just been explosive this year. I don't think that Washington's defense will be able to handle them. Cam Newton's having a great season. He's showing that with all his
You know he has more picks than touchdowns this year.
Yeah, but he's getting about 400 yards every game.
But they don't win, right? Even if he throws 400 yards, they don't win. They have one victory this year. In the 2 games that he threw 400 yards, they did not win those games. Carolina is an okay team. They have a good quarterback, but people got excited because a rookie quarterback threw 400 games in his first 2 games of his life, of his career. And I don't think they're that good. I think they got overhyped, and I know Washington's not the best team in the world, but
Washington doesn't even know their quarterback right now. They got Rex Grossman, who threw 4 interceptions his last game, and John Beck, what has he done with his whole life?
yeah, but even though they have a new quarterback, I mean that didn't stop all of us from picking Oakland. So I don't think that
Yeah, but
matters
John Beck's
much.
not Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer hasn't been Carson Palmer for like 10 years. So that, I mean, and let me just say, you know, I took all the research necessary to really delve into this pick, and then I flipped the coin and I went with Washington.
You hear it.
I personally chose Carolina Panthers to win this game. They're at home. I think the home crowd is going to help them. Their offense is really explosive. Cam Newton, we all see that he has the ability to put up a lot of passing yards when necessary.
Yeah, but even a lot of passing yards when necessary, it's not going to help. I mean, Eli Manning a couple weeks ago threw for over 400 yards, didn't get the win. Both of the games Cam Newton has thrown for over 400 yards. He hasn't gotten the win. And, I mean, I don't think that the Washington defense is really going to break on this offense. I don't think they have they have a decent run game, but I don't think it's strong enough to really make an impact, and I think they will be able to stop Cam Newton.
I personally think there's only so long you can keep a team that has such a dynamic quarterback that can move his feet and that has a lot of mobility, that can put a lot of pressure on the defense. There's only so long that you're going to be able to hold them down. I feel like they got out of the blocks because this is Cam Newton's first year, and it is taking him a long time to get his feet wet in the system. I feel that, later in the year we're going to see them put together a little bit more wins and be a little bit more competitive on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, but later in the year is not now, you know? Like, I just don't see... I see that Washington defense being a little much for Cam Newton. And you know what? Say he even does throw for 300 yards, I think it's going to be kind of a bend-don't-break philosophy with that Washington defense. I don't think they're going to let him scramble as much as he has. And Washington's offense isn't the best, but, I mean, I think it'll be doable. I think they'll be able to put some points on the board, and they'll be able to hold Carolina to really get the victory. That's NFL Week 7 picks, and we'll see you next week.